We're going to carry on talking about violence against women, in conflict zones in particular, because as you know, as we've just discussed, civilians, women and children are disproportionately affected in contexts of wars. So for this session, the Women's Forum partnered with Sciences Po, the French university school, and a group of 6 students who took on the very difficult task of producing a report on the subject. So let's welcome our 3 representatives of Sciences Po who will be present and join us to share their key findings with us. And we are going to be joined by Zélie Bousquet, Justine Delemare, Nathalie Mineo. Ladies, please come and join us here on stage. And the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Charlotte, for introducing us. As we speak today, there have never been as many armed conflicts in the world since the end of World War II. More wars, more violence. According to the RULAC, there are currently over 43 active conflicts. Sure, we're talking about all kinds of conflicts. It's not just state versus state, or a state against armed groups, but still, can you imagine? 43 conflicts. Over 15 in the Middle East and North Africa, 14 in Sub-Saharan Africa, 9 in Asia, 4 in Europe, and 1 in Latin America. That's a lot of violence. And yet, many of these conflicts barely make the headlines. But what we cannot ignore is how this violence, again and again, targets women. We have based our work on the United Nations definition of violence against women. It says that any act of gender-based violence that leads to or is likely to result in physical, sexual, or psychological harm is a violence against women. This includes threats, coercion, or even arbitrary deprivation of liberty. And these acts can occur both in public spaces and in private life. Now, let's take a moment to consider a few numbers. Between 250,000 and 500,000 women and girls were raped during the genocide in Rwanda in 1994. And 30 years later, now, in 2024, 1 woman is still sexually assaulted every 4 minutes in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The violence women experience in conflict zones is atrocious. Sexual abuse, sexual slavery, arbitrary executions, acts of torture, forced marriages, genital mutilation, forced prostitution, and human trafficking. But some forms of violence don't always leave physical scars. Women's poverty, forced displacement, inadequate conditions in refugee camps, difficulties integrating into a new society, decrease in access to health care, and rise in domestic violence. They are just as devastating. While these struggles affect all civilians, women are often more impacted by the chaos of war only because of their gender. So these acts of violence are everywhere, all the time, targeting any woman.
This alarming reality raises a question. Why are women systematically targeted during conflicts? In the world of war, women are almost systematically excluded. Hypermasculine values dominate military culture, and women are shut out from decision-making, combat, mental representation, and narratives. Thus, women are only perceived as victims. We must challenge the deep-rooted norms that perpetuate this scheme. What the past few years have revealed us with the rise of the Me Too movement is that sexual violence is structural. It is not the result of isolated, unfortunate events. No. It is part of a system that objectifies women, puts them in a position of subordination. Society and even laws minimize this violence by treating it as a private issue, something we don't talk about. This silence makes sexual violence an insidious tool for maintaining a social order in which women are being dominated. We believe that there is a continuum between the sexual violence in peacetime and the one in wartime. Domination is their fundamental commonality. We believe that in time of war, this tool of domination transforms into a weapon of war. Sexual violence in war is a way of dominating the enemy. By raping bodies, it is an entire nation that is being attacked. Due to their socio-cultural and reproductive roles, women and girls are the primary victims. Tell me, what better way to plunge a society into shame, make it lose its honor, and destroy it than by the rape of its women? What better way to cleanse an ethnicity than by the birth of mixed-race children as a result of those rape? Sexual violence has been and continues to be a weapon of war used for ethnic cleansing, as in Bosnia, genocide, as in Rwanda, and during the Holocaust, a method of torture, such as in Guantanamo, war tactics, political and economic strategies, but also for the enslavement of women, such as the Yazidi women by ISIS. In Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan, Myanmar, Ethiopia, Somalia, Yemen, Nigeria, and so on. Sexual violence is a reality. Sexual violence as a weapon of war is an atrocity that must end. It is not just a war on bodies. It is a war on humanity.
Integrating a gender perspective and raising women's voices into post-conflict peacebuilding isn't just a goal, it's a necessity. Women are not merely victims of conflicts. They are negotiators, leaders, peacebuilders. Their involvement is essential, not just for a lasting and inclusive peace, but also for the deep reconciliation societies need to recover from trauma. But why are women's voices still missing in these key discussions? As Justine said, the same forces that target women in conflict silence them after. Women are pushed away, their voices unheard, their role in rebuilding ignored. Why is this terrible? Because the post-conflict phase is crucial. The period following the end of a conflict is the most important time to act and change. It is at this moment that we must build a fair and peaceful future. It is at this moment that we must challenge structures and norms. It's simple. Women are essential at the negotiating table. Peace agreements must include gender to be effective. Let's consider this number. In 2022, women made up just 16% of negotiators. In that same years, only 6 out of 18 peace agreements included a gender perspective. So the correlation is clear. When women aren't there, gender perspectives aren't either. But gender-inclusive agreements are only the beginning. We need transitional justice. We need strong transitional justice mechanisms to heal societies. Truth and reconciliation commissions are essential when formal legal mechanisms are unavailable or insufficient. While some of these commissions have successfully tackled sexual violence directly, others have ignored it. We can't let this happen. These commissions must be the first step into the long journey of justice. These commissions must be about accountability. Thirdly, we need reparations. Reparations are a collective responsibility. Reparations come in many forms: restitution, rehabilitation, compensation, satisfactions, and guarantees of non-repetition. None of these forms should be underestimated. Some have overlooked the gender power dynamics that shape wars. Again, this is not good enough. Reparations must include all aspects of violence. They must be the collective therapy that helps societies move forward. They shouldn't just address past atrocities. They should break down the structures that allowed violence. As we all gather today to focus on reconciliation, our goal must be more than encouraging dialogue. We need to create spaces where the changes our societies need can be developed and realized. Women's voices cannot be going unheard again. Thank you.